Photoshop actions. I've been using Photoshop long enough that I can remember the excitement that they caused when this feature was first introduced into Photoshop 4. And since then, nothing really has been done to improve this feature, except now in Photoshop CC, it's possible to insert a conditional action. And to show you why this might be useful, let me demonstrate applying a batch process to a selection of images. So if I pop over to Bridge, you can see I have a folder here of images that I would like to process using the action that was shown in Photoshop. Let me just go through the steps that are in this action. So at the moment I've got convert to CMYK 300 ppi-A4. This is an action in which, first of all, it flattens the image, it resizes the image to 300 pixels per inch without changing the pixel dimensions, and then ensures that it fits into the dimensions where it's no bigger than an A4 size. I then apply an automated sharpening routine, followed by a conversion to a European Fogra 39 profile. And then if the image is in 16-bit, there's a 16-bit to 8-bit mode conversion step. And then lastly, a save as TIFF. So those are the steps that are contained in this action. Now let me pop back over again to Bridge, and you can see that if we look at the placard here, pay attention down to this section here. If I go through the images one by one, you can see that the first two are in Adobe RGB, but this one and the next are in a US CMYK space. So the rest of them are in RGB. So okay, so we've got 9 images here, 7 of which are in RGB, and 2 of them which are in a US swap CMYK space. So let's see what happens when I select all of these images using Command A on the Mac or Control A on the PC. And then if I go to the Tools menu and from the Photoshop sub-menu select Batch, I've got selected at the top here the action that I showed you in Photoshop, the action that's over here. The source is is Bridge, the files that I had selected in Bridge, and I've got these 2 boxes checked here to suppress any file options, dialogues, file opening dialogues or color profile warnings. And then because the action that I'm going to use includes a TIFF save command at the end, it's important that I choose to check this item, and I've got selected here for the folder a desktop folder which is called CMYK TIFFs. So this batch dialog is all configured and ready to run. So if I click OK, now this has opened up the first 2 images and converted them to CMYK, but now that it's opened up an image that's already in CMYK, it's not possible to continue the batch operation automatically. So I've got 2 options here. I could just click on the stop button to abandon the batch process, or I could click continue, and then this tells me that the merge visible option is not available, again because it's thrown by the fact that the image is already a flattened image in CMYK. So I'll click continue there, and then the same thing happens again. This next image pops up, so I have to click on that button, then click again, and then it will go through the rest of the routine for all the other images that were in RGB, and it won't have a problem processing those. So let's now pop back over to Bridge and look at the output folder, and you can see that the same 9 images that I had I had selected before are now present in this output folder. And if I go through them, if you look at the placard information down here for the profile, you can see that as I go through, now these do all have the same profile. So what I've ended up with is correct in as much as the output folder all contains CMYK images, but these have all been converted to the Fogra 39 profile. But these 2 images here have also been converted to Fogra 39, which means that they've been converted from one CMYK space into another, which isn't really a good thing to do. So the problem that we have here is, as I just explained, the double conversion of CMYK that's taken place through allowing the action to continue. But of course, if you imagine batch processing a huge number of images, it would be very laborious, even if that was acceptable to you, to have to keep on clicking on those continue buttons. So the solution here, if I just select all of these and delete to get rid of them, and then go back to our original folder of TIFF images, the solution here is to create a special action for which this isn't going to be a problem. So let me now go to Photoshop, and then with this droplet actions action set selected, let me just click down here to create a new action, and I'm going to call this CMYK convert RGB only. So I want to create a new action that is only going to convert the RGB images. And then if I go to the options up here, I need to select Insert Conditional, and then it's a very simple interface here. The options that I've got allow you to choose any one of these conditional options. I want to go for the one which says document mode is RGB, and then I'm going to select the Convert to CMYK action that I was playing before, and I don't need to bother about entering anything down here for the else play action option. I'll click OK to that, and then click on the stop button, and that's everything done. So let me select that action there, and then pop back over to Bridge. Now here is the original folder that I had selected before. Let me select all the images again, come up to the Tools menu and choose Photoshop, Batch, and you can see that because I've selected the CMY Convert RGB only action down here in the action set, it's now automatically selected it in the batch dialog, and all the other options with these checkboxes checked, I can keep those the same, and the output folder has remained the same as well. So now I'll click OK and see what happens. And you can see it just skipped those two images that were already in CMYK and has chosen not to process them, and is now running through all the other images that were in RGB. And if I now go over to Bridge and have a look at the output folder, you can see instead of processing all of the pictures that were in the original folder, the TIFFs folder here, it has just selected out the RGB images and converted just those to the CMYK space. So very useful in this instance, dealing with not just a collection of 9 images here, but as I said, if you're processing a large number of images and you didn't want the actions to be tripped up when running a batch process like this, then using conditionals is a really effective way of being able to make your actions, your batch actions that is, run more smoothly.